YouTube, thanks for stopping by. As an avid watcher of You on Netflix, I've had several opportunities to dive deep and take much more into consideration after so many rewatches. One of the things in which this particular show is good at is sending us a message earlier on that could serve as a prologue for what's to come, and keeping those things hidden in the details until they become a huge factor. And when it's not that, it can also be bringing more life to concepts that were introduced in the very beginning, or carrying out the same concept all the way into the end. That's why the ending of Season 3 was so well orchestrated, because Paris is a location that has made its way into the story since Season 1. The same could be said about Season 4, because Joe and his hallucinations also go that far back. Very briefly, we even get to see him interacting with himself in Season 3. Essentially, the writers have done a really great job at planting seeds ahead of time to prepare for future storytelling. So with Season 5 being announced as the final season of the show, I'm wondering if they've already told us how they intend to end it. When it comes to Joel's fate, I've always had one particular scene in mind. Let's watch it.
So, Karma and I, we're in a fight. Some people, they get what they deserve. Some people don't. And each day that passes, justice seems more and more like a literary conceit. In Crime and Punishment, the hero willingly walks into exile. He is killed, but he's also found love. And if he repents, he can be redeemed. He and the woman he loves can be saved.
Whenever people ask, will Joe die or will he go to prison, I always say self-imprisonment. Marked by Joe's words, the hero willingly walks into exile. Now, I don't know if that means to go to prison, but it definitely means he intends to build his own cage in some shape or form. That could mean turning himself in, but I'm not leaning towards that. I'm thinking something that has less to do with the law and more to do with what's best for Joe and his victims if they were to do things without the law's involvement. Because as we know, Joe and the law for the past few seasons haven't been so quick to look in his direction. Even now, after coming back from faking his death as an unwilling participant of love's deadly deeds, he was able to rise above every bit of consequence and insinuation that he should have been subject to. Plus, Candace said it herself.
I'm gonna go to the cops, and I'm gonna tell them everything. Nope, sorry, not that either. Too easy on you.
Following his line about walking into exile, he says the hero is also killed, but that they found love, which to me means that yes, death is a big possibility. I don't think it'll be a suicide because we were already given that in Season 4. It would be too repetitious. However, I also don't think it'll necessarily be someone getting revenge on Joe or him dying as a result of everything he's done, as a way of holding him accountable. If you look at Dexter, the only thing that caught up to him was the realization that even if he saved thousands of lives, him being who he is can still result in ruining the ones that matter more. Rita, Deborah, Harrison, and anyone else who didn't ask to be a collateral victim. What if instead, Joe's the collateral victim? He can't always win, can he? However, he can still lose and get the one thing that he's wanted from the start. A happy ending with the one, which brings us to Kate. I'm going to be honest, I think my opinion is unpopular because I've yet to encounter someone who doesn't find Kate insufferable, but I think Kate is actually Joe's best love interest yet, and perfect for Joe. I was going to explain why, but I realized how long the video would be if I did, so if you want me to do a full breakdown of Joe's love interests, the difference between them, and what makes Kate the best one, please let me know in the comment section. But for now, to put it in the most simplest way possible, I feel like Joe and Kate remind me of Sidney Prescott and Mark and Cade from the Scream franchise. We don't learn too much about Mark, but from what we get, It's implied that everything he's experienced in his life is a mirror image of what Sydney's gone through. Hence why they go good together, and why the Return of the Scream movies reveal that they're now married. I think that's exactly what they were going for with Kate. Joe doesn't need someone like Love, he needs someone like himself. Pairing Joe up with Kate, and then having the next season be his last, is perfect for setting up how things would go for Joe and the last person he winds up being with. Even the actor Penn Badgley has stated that he believes Kate will be Joe's last serious relationship. He also says that he doesn't think it's possible for Love to have a last partner, which could mean that if the series were to continue, somehow, some way, something would have broken them up. But with the show ending, it's safe to say that they'll do something that serves as an overall conclusion to Joe's search for his person. And I believe that would be ending the show with Joe in a place where he's happy to say that he's found the one for him and that they found him. So I think that in terms of Joe specifically, we're going to have a hybrid of an ending. One where Joe is satisfied or content within himself, but also one where the audience is satisfied and Joe's victims would be happy with whatever happens to him. Now, we have to acknowledge the elephant of the story, which is Reese, or should I say, inner Joe. I intend to make a separate video about this, how it works, and how I think it'll pan out, so tune in for that, but for now, let me just say that I think this is going to be the backbone of the plot. I mean, obviously it will be, it was the cliffhanger we were left on, but I think this is how we're going to get to the point of Joe feeling the need to walk into exile, regardless of where he's at in life or how happy he is. Not because he can now especially get away with everything, but because of who he is, what he's done to other people, and what will continue to happen if he doesn't stop himself. Reese is the embodiment of Joe's thoughts, a more honest version of him. It is the manifestation of who Joe is deep down, a bucket finally tipping over, metaphorically speaking. And if you ask me, that's who Joel's antagonist is going to be this season. In season 4, the journey was discovering the Eat the Rich Killer in part 1, with Tom Lockwood being the antagonist in part 2. But now we have Joe at war with himself, and he himself is going to be the thing that he has to put up with. Not his love interest, not the people around his love interest or the ones that stand in their way, but him. Let's summarize everything we've gone over as it pertains to how this show will probably end. I believe that Joe will quote-unquote willingly walk into exile, imprisoning himself rather than being caught and imprisoned by the law. Somehow, someway, Joel's life may be halted. He won't kill himself like he tried to do with Jonathan Moore, but he may find himself in a situation where he simply doesn't continue to come out unharmed, and that'll be the end of him, dying naturally as opposed to dying because it's what he deserves according to someone else. To play into both sides, things will end both good and bad. He'll be exiled or he'll die, but he'll also find closure within the thing that he's been looking for most of his life. This could be a happy ending to his love life with Kate. Most importantly, Joe will find closure within himself. Reese will show him the worst parts of who he is and why he's bad for everyone around him, but not just that. Reese will also help Joe empathize with himself and acknowledge the parts that are generally good. I don't think the show's agenda in the end will purely be that Joe is bad or evil. I think the reason why he's a morally great character is because there are certain parts of him that the viewers are meant to get behind, while also acknowledging the parts that they are meant to accept aren't good. Maybe they'll go back to what made him who he is to do this. So what do you all think? Which of my predictions do you agree with and which don't you? What are some predictions you'll have that I haven't touched on? I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts in the comment section. There should be 1 or 2 more videos about the show and the upcoming season coming out soon, so please tune in and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, goodbye.